Coming up on the November 22nd edition of Carolina Week.
Following a rash of break-ins, we'll take a look at what local police recommend to keep homes secure during the holiday break.
The university continues its plan for expansion to Carolina North, but it will have to do some cleanup first.
In sports, find out if UConn cleaned the floor with the heels or got sent out with the trash.
Plus your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Courtney Robinson.
And I'm Joe Mott. Classes at UNC end on Wednesday, and most students will be going home for the Thanksgiving holidays.
Many students are thinking about more than turkey and pumpkin pie than their security of their belongings. But Carolina Week reporter Adriana Hopkins says safety officials are advising students not to make that mistake.
Maybe it's the holiday spirit that gives students a false sense of security. They forget to close their car doors and windows, and even the doors to their residence halls. UNC Department of Safety spokesman Randy Young says holiday cheer shouldn't stop students from staying safe.
When you're walking around campus day or night to walk with friends and acquaintances in groups.
He's also advising students to visit the ATMs during the day and not to carry around a lot of cash. In 2003 alone, 5 people were robbed on campus and there were 28 burglaries. The Department of Safety hopes that students will keep its warning in mind to keep these numbers low. In Chapel Hill, I'm Adriana Hopkins, Carolina Week.
Feel any safer? The police department wants more officers on the Franklin Street beat, but with this year's tight budget, the town said no. Instead, the department hired private security workers to patrol problem areas. The police chief says despite the improved crime report, it's the public's perception that's important. Another problem police are facing, especially with the holidays, is drunk driving. Durham County Sheriff's deputies kicked off the Booze It and Lose It campaign this weekend. Friday marked the first of 3 nights of major checkpoints during the holiday season. The deputies worked alongside other law enforcement officers to check for drivers impaired by alcohol on University Drive. In his 3rd year monitoring the checkpoints, Sheriff Sergeant Adam Clayton knows the holiday spirits can lead to poor decisions.
People will, historically be hitting the bottle a little bit more during the holiday season. We have dark roads, we have busy highways, we have construction zones, so it's even confusing for a sober person sometimes to go through these construction zones. Just imagine being impaired and trying to get through them.
Since the start of the governor's Highway Safety Initiative in 1993, officers have charged more than 44,000 people with driving while impaired. Officers stayed at the checkpoint until 3 a.m. Saturday morning, arresting 7 people for driving under the influence.
But they weren't the only law enforcement officers busy this weekend after vandals covered a Hillsboro church with satanic graffiti. The Sheriff's Department released these photographs of the Crossroads Baptist Church after the vandalism was discovered last week. Vandals used orange spray paint to write the letter 666 on the columns in front of the church, sprayed pentagrams on the plexiglass-covered stained glass windows, and wrote a satanic message on a building behind the church. They also broke into the church's sign and rearranged the letters to say, "Hail Satan." The church's pastor, Reverend Philip Moore, was horrified by the vandalism.
When I drove in there and saw the satanic remarks on our sign and all the symbols and all that they had put all over the church buildings, and it was just a shock to me. I just couldn't believe somebody would desecrate, God's house like that.
Moore says shortly after the police finished their report, he contacted church members to clean up the church and paint over the graffiti. The vandalism appears to be an isolated incident.
Local fishermen have been warned not to eat the fish they catch in some Raleigh waterways. The Environmental Protection Agency has found toxic chemicals in some Raleigh streams and creeks. The contaminated areas are downstream from the Ward Transformer site, and the water flows into Lake Crabtree and Umstead Park. People are urged to limit their fish consumption from the area until environmental investigators have completed their study. That's not the only environmental problem in the area.
Nearby residents have always noticed large amounts of waste on parts of the Horace Williams property. 1 year ago last week, the university hired an environmental consulting firm to begin cleanup of the property. Carolina We took an in-depth look into exactly what's on the land and what the university is doing to fix it.
Bikers ride over it. Joggers run by it, but not many know what's underneath the surface. To learn what lies underneath the university's Horace Williams tract, you have to look back to a time when no dumping was not the normal practice.
It could be any kind of research laboratory chemicals.
Peter Reinhardt is the director of the Department of Environment, Health and Safety at the university.
So we're dealing with containers that are extremely small. Some of them are, thimble size.
Though you wouldn't know by looking through the fence, during the 70s, the university research labs buried laboratory and medical waste in a part of the Horace Williams property about the size of a baseball diamond. A walk through the woods will show that near the same time, the university and the town also dumped sanitary waste in a 35-acre section of the property, which still remains overgrown and rusted to today. But only the fenced-off laboratory waste could potentially cause problems for the environment. Bob Epting is an environmental lawyer who worked to make the university aware of some of the dangers.
Groundwater under the site is contaminated with benzene levels something on the order of 30,000 times higher than the state public health standards set by the state.
Benzene in the laboratory waste most likely seeped into the water table. To clean it up, it involves a multi-million-dollar process. So last year, the university hired an environmental consulting company that placed monitoring wells inside the fenced-off area and around the Horace Williams property. Data from the wells showed that though the groundwater is highly contaminated, it is contained inside the university property. Tests also showed that the groundwater makes no connection with the surface water, causing no current danger to wildlife or humans. But there is a great potential danger.
If we did nothing, groundwater would continue to be contaminated. Groundwater probably would continue to spread. It would spread off the site, and we want to prevent that from happening.
Tests show that polluted groundwater 60 feet below me is slowly flowing north. But what's it flowing to? In time, it would flow here, to a small neighborhood near the property. Fortunately, the area is on city water, but it serves as a reminder to the university how crucial the cleanup is.
Dan Coleman first noticed the waste around 1990, but he said the university didn't hold the cleanup as high of a priority as it should have.
As far as I can tell, it only became important to the university when it potentially stood in their way.
Though Reinhardt said development is a factor in the cleanup, he said the university always planned to clean up the site. Epting said he thinks development is a large reason for the university's attention to the cleanup, but he said he is also grateful.
It's not so much a question of why and when they decided to be serious about a cleanup effort, as that they have made a serious commitment to do that.
Now that the university is working to remediate its damage to the area, the users of the property can look forward to not having to heed warnings. Instead, they can simply enjoy the land.
Officials say the cleanup will take up to 8 years and will cost about $10 million.
There's a new addition to the old Chapel Hill Cemetery. When we return, people are gone but not forgotten.
Hello. Yes. Can I ask a few questions about the apartment on Park Street?
What was your name?
My name is Juan Hernandez.
It's been rented.
Oh, it's gone. Hello, my name is Sanjay Kumar. I am calling about the apartment on Park Street.
It's not available.
Not available? Hello, my name is Tyrone Washington. I'm calling about the apartment on Park Street.
Just been rented.
Hello, I am Chen Ling. My name is Khalid bin Ali. I'm Tuan Vo. Hello, my name is Moshe Goldberg. I use a wheelchair. It's gone. Not available. All right. Thank you. Yes, hello, my name is Graham Wellington. I'm calling about the apartment for rent on Park Street. Is that still available?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Really?
Housing discrimination is illegal. If you think you've been a victim because of your race, color, national origin, sex, religion, disability, or family status, call us. Fair housing. It's not an option. It's the law.
This time, the test isn't to blame, but a faulty formula could keep thousands of teachers from getting their bonuses. The Chapel Hill Board of Education refused this week to adjust school ratings for middle schools. Only 2 schools in the state managed to show improvement on statewide reading tests. An advisory committee is recommending a review of the formula used to grade the tests, and the BOE is complying. Bonuses for reading teachers are contingent upon approved scores. A proposal to bring Western Studies minor to Carolina is bringing controversy with it, as many students and faculty members are finding fault with the program's prospective donor. The donor, the Pope family, also helps fund the Pope Center for Higher Learning, which has harshly criticized UNC on its website. Professor Reed Barber is on the committee that helped develop plans for the program.
I agree with my colleagues who have raised these objections that I would like to see the administration say to the Pope family, we'll have a lot better chance of having a good relationship if you go to the Pope Center and say, the hostile attacks, they need to stop.
The proposal hasn't been accepted yet, and Barber says the administrators are continuing to look for other potential donors for the program.
One of North Carolina's U.S. senators is set to take a big role in the Republican Party. Elizabeth Dole is the GOP's new choice to head the National Republican Senatorial Committee. She campaigned earlier this fall at rallies such as this one for former North Carolina gubernatorial candidate Patrick Ballantyne. Dole will try to increase the Republican majority in the Senate by campaigning across the country for the 2006 elections. For this fall's Senate campaign, the committee raised more than $68 million.
The never-ending saga regarding renaming Airport Road in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. is finally, maybe, near an end. Committee members met this Saturday morning for the last discussion about the controversial topic. 16 of the 19 members favored the name change proposal. The finalized report will now go to the Chapel Hill Town Council, which is likely to make the final decision at its December 6th meeting.
Gone but not forgotten is the phrase to remember following a dedication ceremony at the Old Chapel Hill Cemetery Friday night. Students, faculty, and people from the community gathered on the western end of the cemetery for the unveiling of a plaque marking the African American section of the cemetery. In the 2 sections of the cemetery closest to Winston Dorm are the graves of hundreds of slaves and free blacks who were laborers and servants for the university. President of the Black Student Movement, Aaron Davis, says the marker is the university's way of recognizing their work.
There are a ton of people out here who don't even know about the cemetery. Made it that much more symbolic that we put a marker here, because now it's truly that you're gone but you're not forgotten, that we acknowledge that, we acknowledge the work that you've put in here at this university and in this town.
Descendants of those buried here attended. They said the marker made them feel good because it shows their ancestors are not forgotten.
Well, yet another UNC graduate is on its way to Oxford University in England as a Rhodes Scholar. Rachel Mazik becomes the 38th alum to get the award. Mazik graduated from Carolina 2 years ago and was a Morehead Scholar here. She received that recognition when she was only 16. Well, weathercaster Erin Moore joins us now.
Erin, it sure has not been feeling like November weather.
No, we've had some really nice days lately, and we've been seeing warmer temperatures lately, but as you can see, the weather was a little dreary Monday afternoon at Kenan Stadium. For the first time in 3 years, fall season will be over before football season. But will we have winning weather for Thanksgiving dinner? I'll have the answer to that question and your 4-day forecast when Carolina Week returns.
Hey, I was checking you out. I was thinking, how about you come onto my car and we can have a couple beers, fool around a little bit. You know, I could give you herpes.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
Mad, face the brutal truth about underage drinking.
Check it out, man.
What is that?
It looks like someone's belly. Yeah, probably lost it walking on the beach.
Man, just leave it. Let's go.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Erin Moore here with a check of your weather headlines. We've been seeing some unsettled weather with cloudy skies prevailing, and this is going to continue for the next few days, which is going to keep our overnight lows more than 10 degrees warmer than average for this time of year. On Wednesday, we have the chance to see some thunderstorms as a cold front passes, but we do look to be clearing out and drying out for Thanksgiving Day. If we look at the satellite map, we can see all of this moisture is being produced from a low pressure system, bringing all of the moisture in from the Gulf, and that is going to be heading our way over the next couple of days. And on the forecast map, we can see that we do have a warm front that's going to be coming our way Tuesday night, possibly into Wednesday morning, and we're going to see some rain produced by that. And then on Thursday, this cold front will be coming through and clearing out our skies for Thursday morning as you get ready to cook your turkey. So as we look at the 4-day forecast, we can see this. Our showers are going to be here on Tuesday with a high of 60 and a low of 55. On Wednesday, again, there's that chance for some thunderstorms as the cold front passes through. We're going to see a high of 68 with a low of 53. On Thursday, our high will be about 63 degrees, perfect Thanksgiving Day weather, with some partly cloudy skies and a low of 52. And on Friday, we'll see a high of 54 with a low of 35, getting back to that colder weather, more typical for this time of year. If you are traveling for Thanksgiving, if you're headed to Atlanta, the highs are going to be about 58 degrees with a low of 51 on Thursday. Chicago, look at those temperatures, 33 with a low of 23 and partly cloudy skies. In New York City, we're going to see a high of 60 degrees, which is pretty warm for this time of year, with a low of 49. And if you're going to Los Angeles, you're lucky because the high is going to be 70 degrees with a low of 50 and sunny skies. Very typical for California. So
I can see that. Well, I'd much rather be in LA than Chicago right
definitely,
about now.
definitely.
Well, thank you very much, Erin.
Thank
Luke
you.
Notestein joins us now with some sports.
One thing you guys probably don't know about Luke is he's on the men's club soccer team, and you were in Texas this past weekend. How'd that go? For the national soccer tournament? Right?
Well, we went undefeated, only giving up one goal. The national championship game got canceled because of rain, but unofficially we were declared the national champs.
Congratulations.
So pretty cool.
So glad to see you
And
back safe.
speaking of national champs, the women's basketball team was in action after burning the Elon Phoenix to ashes 86-40 during Friday's season opener. The women's basketball team headed into the Jimmy V Classic Sunday afternoon, ready to drop it like it's hot. Lady Tar Heels came out in step against the three-time defending national champ UConn. Led by sophomore Camille Little, Carolina's defense wouldn't take the Huskies lying down, but intense play on both ends kept the score close, 35-30 UConn at the break. In the second half, UConn started to show why it's ranked number 4, pulling away by 10 points with 13 minutes to go. Slowly, the Heels started to pick away at the deficit thanks to offensive intensity from freshman phenom Erlana Larkins. But with 1:53 remaining, it was Ivory Lotta who hammered 3 nails into UConn's coffin, sealing the UNC win 71-65. Coach Sylvia Hatchell says this win and this team holds a special place in her heart.
The feelings that I have for this team, my heart's not big enough for my body. I thought there were times out there today where, especially when we got down by 10 points and all, that we could have just fallen apart and laid down and died, but we didn't, and I think that we're actually going to get better and be a better team than even we were out there today.
The men's basketball team suffered a disappointing loss at the Pete Newell Challenge. The cold shooting Tar Heels scored only 66 points and gave up 77 to a Santa Clara team that lost by 30 to New Mexico. This is only UNC's 5th opening season loss since 1930. The Heels look to get their first W of the season when they play BYU in the first game of the Maui Invitational Monday night at 9. Well, before Saturday's game against arch-rival Duke, senior leader and center Jason Brown said that losing to Duke is like getting beat up by a girl. Now, no offense to the ladies in our now extended viewing area, but a man never wants that to happen. Well, to Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham we go, where Jason Brown, check this out, makes a huge hole for Chad Scott to score the touchdown. But the Blue Devils come right back. Connor Barth with the field goal, Duke says no way. The Blue Devils scoop it up and return for the touchdown. Dogfight the rest of the way. Heels get back to their bread and butter with Ronnie McGill returning from injury, and he picks up a touchdown right here. Another huge hole. But the Blue Devils come right back and score a touchdown of their own. They just won't go away. Well, maybe Jason Brown would like to retract those comments he made earlier.
I apologize to my teammates. And you know what they said? We got your back, Jason Brown. We've got your back. And you know what? They said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it one bit, because we're going to have a great week of practice, and we're going to go out there, and we're going to play football.
And play football they did. The Carolina defense stepped up huge in the second half. You don't usually see sacks that big at the grocery store. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kareem Taylor Show. As he stands up this Blue Devil, then makes the interception and returns it all the way for a score. And what do you think could make men this big run this fast? Is it free pizza? Well, not this time. It's a ride on the victory bell, of course, which Carolina players promptly paint the right shade of blue. Ah, the sweet sound of victory. And with the 40-17 win against Duke, the Heels not only won the right to their first bowl game since 2001, but also a 2-year contract extension for head coach John Bunting. Well, we all know the win against Duke was big, but just how big was it? Coming after the break, reporter Wes Wilson will tell us more about the vegetation and the 4 Bs, the bell, the bowling, and belief in Bunting.
Hello, my name is Estelle Ward, and I'd like to speak to someone about my daughter Ruth's financial aid. Hello, yes, I'm Ruth Ward's mom, and I was hoping the university might be considered. She got good grades. Hello, I'm Ruth Ward's mother, and I'd like to speak to someone about my daughter's financial aid.
Sniffing things to get high can deprive your brain of the oxygen it needs to keep you alive.
The women's soccer team tried to do something that the men's basketball team couldn't, beat Santa Clara. The Heels looked to make it a 3rd-round knockout of the 4th-ranked Broncos. As the match went on, both teams hit the switch and cranked up the D. Check out this save by Santa Clara's Julie Ryder. After a scoreless first half, the Tar Heels came out with a sense of desperation with the foul here, but the match would go into overtime. Then Santa Clara's Megan Kakadelis with the Kaka-goalless. The Tar Heels suffered their first loss since the 2002 season. The women's soccer team finished the season with 20 wins, 2 ties, and 1 loss. Then the George Washington Colonials scored on the men's soccer team in the first 2 minutes of play, and UNC had to play catch-up. The Tar Heels tried everything to get one past goalkeeper Derek Biss, who takes a hit like a pro. UNC battled for a score in front of the Colonial goal for most of the game, but with no luck. This is one fan who knows how the Heels feel. UNC took 17 shots at the net, none of which helped them stay in the NCAA tournament. Senior captain Tim Merritt knows that his college career is over. You hate to see that. But Coach Elmar Bolovich wasn't happy with the loss. But hey, soccer happens.
And on the shots, we were just not fortunate enough. You know, you saw all these bounces in the box, and no matter how hard we tried, I think some guys were maybe a little bit uptight instead of being more relaxed on the shots.
The volleyball team fared a little better in its ACC tourney. The 5th-seeded Tar Heels swept Florida State, which had beaten them both times in the regular season. Carolina then defeated Clemson 3-0 to advance to the finals for the first time since 2001. But Maryland, the defending champs, held on to the title as the Terps dominated the Heels 3-0. 6 sessions, 3 days, 2 champions, 1 Nike Cup. Carolina Swimming hosted the meet this weekend, featuring some of the nation's best teams. 13th-ranked men started strong, winning the first 2 days behind the solid swimming of Josh Glasgow and Reed Owen. Glasgow broke the 13-year-old school record in the 200 fly on Saturday to help give the men a 400-point victory on the 3rd day of competition. Now to the 16th-ranked women, who swam well but came up 150 points short of Cup winners Purdue. Well, a few people gave the football players reason to believe this year. The media picked them to finish 10th in the expanded ACC, but they'll finish at least 5th and head to a bowl game. Reporter Wes Wilson has the story of the team that believed.
Being the oldest public university in the country, many sites on campus conjure up strong memories of long ago. But for Tar Heel football fans this season, the hedges surrounding Kenan Stadium tell the tale of a team that was written off by the media, the university, and even many of its own fans. But those who matter most believed.
I told them I love my family more than anything, but I do not want to be with my family this Christmas. I want to be with you guys. I told them that. I want to be with every single one of you guys off somewhere having fun.
The broken stems of the once beautiful hedges tell their own tale, the tale of a battle-weary head coach anything but broken. And as the victory bell faded to a different shade of blue, the likelihood of another coach roaming Carolina's sidelines next fall faded as well.
And I'm very pleased to announce right now that immediately Dick Bedore and I plan to ask the Board of Trustees to give John Bunting a 2-year extension on his contract.
We owe it to that man. He bleeds Carolina blue, and we have no bigger fan than Coach Bunting. We truly owe it to him, and we love him.
It wasn't just that this team won, it was the way they did it. From the stop and the kick to sweet reclamation, they were Rocky and Rudy all rolled into one. And those hedges offered testimony and a reminder to the season that finally was. In Chapel Hill, I'm Wes Wilson, Carolina Week Sports.
Thanks, Wes. And as you can see, I took part of the trampled hedges home with me following Carolina's win against Miami. Now I don't have to go back to Kenan Stadium to remember the biggest win in Tar Heel history. And I'm being told that we do have a bigger fan of Carolina football than John Bunting. Joe?
I don't want to call myself a bigger fan than John Bunting, but I had the fortunate chance when I was coming back from the game on Saturday. We were driving back down 15501, and we happened to see the team, the tow truck, and the victory bell on the back of it. And we were asked to hop on the back of the truck and ride the victory bell into town, parading it through, ringing it. And here's a little shot of me very happy about my opportunity.
Oh, that's
you
great.
look extremely excited.
It was probably one of the best chances I've ever had in college.
Were there
and
a
being
lot of
a
fans
senior.
out there?
There were enough to make my heart beat a little bit.
That's great.
So.
Congrats.
Well, thank you very
Luke,
much,
thanks,
Luke.
and take care of that little piece of hedge.
I will.
Thank you, Luke. Well, the victory bell means big win against Duke, but it also means an extended season for the Heels.
When we return, we'll answer the question, what do these 3 things have in common?
Okay, here's a little pop quiz for you. Name any Oscar winner. Name one character from a Hollywood film. Easy, right? Oh, one more question. Name one character your kid learned about in English class.
Know what really matters. Know about your kid's school, and know about your kid. Find out 100 ways to know more, do more.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Well, Joe, what we do know is that the Carolina football team is playing in a bowl, but what we don't know is where.
Carolina Week's R.J. Weber asked students to see where they'd like to see the Heels play.
Where would you prefer the football team play their bowl game? Las Vegas, Boise, or Charlotte, and why?
Las Vegas, because that's by far the coolest city that you mentioned.
I gotta go with Charlotte. I mean, it's close. You're gonna get a bigger fan base there. Vegas will be a lot of fun. You can gamble and you can drink all night.
We gotta go to Charlotte.
Why?
So I can go, of course. Can nobody get to Las Vegas?
Definitely Las Vegas.
Why?
Because it's Vegas. It's next to California. It's Vegas. You can gamble if you're 21.
Whether we're catching potatoes in Idaho, placing bets on the game in Las Vegas, or playing on semi-home turf in the Continental Tire Bowl, most folks at UNC are simply glad that Carolina is bound for any bowl at all. In Chapel Hill, I'm R.J. Weber, Carolina Week.
Well, Court, where would you like to see our team go?
I really wanted to go to the Peach Bowl, but I heard that Clemson beat USC, so...
Vegas.
Whatever. I guess we're not going there. So, I mean, I'm going to be in Seattle. I don't care.
Vegas seems like it's highly likely. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.